Welcome again back with What I've Learned podcast. This is your host, Mark Blair, and your co-host here, Grant Cropfeld. We have a special guest here, Kathleen Black from Kathleen Black Coaching and Consulting, also a Amazon best-selling author. She's just launched her second book. Her first book is known as The Top 1% Life. Her second book that just came out a week ago. Is that correct, Kathleen?
It is, yeah.
Relentless Rise, which is an amazing book. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you should. Now, Kathleen, we'd like to start off the podcast by asking you a quick question on telling us a little bit about your backstory. Give us a little background on who you are and how you started this phenomenal business and what led you up to writing these two incredible books.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would take hours, and perhaps is why there's a documentary coming out in the next week or two. But I'll give you the Coles notes, right? The brief notes on it. I mean, I essentially, in university, did a little bit of like rent to get rooms and having a room and board with students so that I could be in a better area because I had a son, during most of my university career. And I look back and I think that was my first glimpse at, real estate in a way of the rental, the investment side, or just leverage, right? Because I was renting where I was at and trying to get income, having other people kind of come in. And I ended up leaving university and I thought I was going to work at a rape crisis center. That's where I thought my path in life was meant to be. And I came out from running dental offices and realized, I have a young son and I'm going to make less money going into what I thought was my career of choice versus sticking and doing what I'm doing. So fast forward a year or two later, and I met my husband and we started to purchase properties and gut them completely and renovate them into multi-units. So it was 100% sweat equity. And they started to dub us the no money miracle because, we were doing what a lot of us know how to do, like a lot of work essentially, and pulling money out and using it to buy the next property and fixing up one unit so we could move into it. And this just continued to happen. And my husband at the time really wanted me to get into real estate. He felt I was micromanaging our agent a little bit. And I felt our agent really didn't understand the investment aspect of real estate. And long story short, I had two little kids. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was managing our properties and tenants, and I was sanding drywall and painting and just doing anything as needed, right? Which most early investors do. And eventually he pushed me to get into real estate. And I did. In the first year in real estate, I started what would end up to be an extremely messy separation, unfortunately. And for those of us who have investment properties and marriage, it's like business and marriage all mixed in one. It's super messy. So I found myself, two kids under 5 with our accounts frozen, brand new to real estate. And I had to make a decision and go, look, what are you going to do? Because I'd never been the main breadwinner and everything was cut off. Like it was just me and the kids. And I had a moment where I thought, do I go back and manage dental offices? That seems safe on paper, right? Or do I take a big risk and invest in myself? And I decided, I'm going to go all in. And I ended up to sell 47 homes my first year in real estate. And the years after, I was selling 60 plus with 2 young kids. And that led me to learn a lot about efficiency and to really want to help other people, do what's possible. And that led to running the first team-specific coaching company in Canada. And then I sold my shares to my partner and I opened this business 5 years ago. So that's like the quick version.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is incredible. And it is, I applaud you for handling a challenging situation, raising a child, even through school. Basically, you started Airbnb in a way, right?
In my own house. Yeah.
But it's incredible what you did, and it's incredible what you still accomplished with all the challenges. I'm sure there was a lot of, tears and joy and laughter along the way that people don't really get to see because you don't get to see what it takes to build up to that level. Now, I also was kind of telling you that before we even got to the podcast, we've got a lot of mutual friends, and I didn't realize that you've coached so many people and that so many people. What do you do in Niagara Falls exactly?
Oh, we run in Niagara Falls, we run the Ultimate Team Summit. So in my old company, we ran the Canadian Team Summit. And when I started this company, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to take it up a notch, right? Like we wanted to have the biggest team specific summit in real estate in North America. That was our goal. So we did achieve that. But what's really cool is 80% of the people who attend the summit are 100 deal plus producers, or they're on a team that equates to that production level. So it's a really unique, caliber, not to be elitist, but caliber of leaders, right? Leadership, high performance people. So we run that event every November, and people bring out their whole team, or aspiring team leaders come, and it's really a unique synergy of good people, good leadership, good values. Like it's a lot of learning, but also a lot of fun.
Right. And no, it's phenomenal because you have to realize the real estate industry in any market is made of the top 20%. So
Yeah.
you either want to jump into that group and goal set yourself to become a part of that group, or you want to have those folks mentor you. That's the kind of, you've got to have a selected mindset towards who you're going to follow. What's your business going to turn out to be? So that is phenomenal that you're doing that. So tell us about this book that you just wrote, Relentless Rise. What is it about?
Well, Relentless to Rise is a very different. It's funny. Relentless to Rise should have been my first book, but when you're a new author, it's kind of a journey. So Relentless to Rise is it's more my personal story, and it's geared to help people step into clarity and confidence, to leave behind any misconceptions about who they are and who they can be, and to really step into creation. I believe all best leaders are creators, right? They see a vision of their future, they bring it to be, and if not, we're just managing, right? And it could be really painful to manage day to day without a vision. So the book is personal. It's my personal story. I mean, I lightened up a lot because obviously, as all of us, when we have a story, there are other people involved, and the past is the past. None of us are the same people. But that book's really designed to supercharge people, power them up, put them in a position where they really feel they can be their own personal fierce CEO of their lives, whether they're in real estate or not. It doesn't matter. That book is for anyone who's really looking just to kind of own their identity and own their life and own their path. Whereas the second book is, okay, now I'm getting clear. I need to leverage. I need to start to scale. I need to start to get some resources. The second book is more, I need to expand beyond myself. The first book is, I need to power myself up.
Right. And that's really appropriate in times like this, though. So just going back to a conversation I had yesterday with someone, and we were talking about, do you remember the personality tests that they would do in coaching classes? And they would literally send people out in tears who they had convinced they could not do real estate as a business. And that's a really sad thing. I love your book for that particular reason. Anybody can do anything they want to do, customizing it to their own personality. There's no personality that actually stops you from being successful. So that is completely untrue. So one quote from your book that I really liked was on page 26. I believe we are here to serve the world at a much higher frequency. Your purpose is unique to you. It is buried deep within you at birth. You have a unique path. Your job is to connect to and trust that path while being as gentle and honest to yourself and those around you as you go. An absolutely wonderful quote to live by. I loved how you dove really deep into that. But I did have a question about one of your other quotes in the book on page 24. Now, we talk about in this podcast about striking a balance with your business. And so I don't know what you meant by this. So I got to ask you. I'm curious as heck.
Yeah.
The quote on page 24 says, I do not believe in balance. I never had balance, and I never reached for it. It is unattainable. And just plain boring vanilla makes me feel like I'm in a school assembly with someone saying, crisscross applesauce, be quiet, play nice, and smile. You look so much prettier that way. No, I still feel uncomfortable at my children's assemblies to this day. I wait for someone to get me in trouble, take away my phone, and tell me I'm sitting in someone else's seat. True story till this day. So I totally want to understand what was going on in your mind, and what does this mean in context?
Yeah. Well, I think there's so much, and I will tell you what I mean by the harmony thing, but I think it's a a lot of entrepreneurs, or even when you talk about the personality profiles, like I work with a lot of powerful women and powerful men, but powerful women often kind of bring down their personality a little bit. And I like to say, real estate is a beautiful place to help you spread your wings if you're a really strong, powerful, woman. But majority of my life, the world doesn't always love strong, powerful women. Maybe they love strong, powerful men. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I'm a woman, right? So I have my own personal experience with it. But I think there was always this kind of restriction. And with my kids, I always say I never wanted to break them, right? I wanted to help them be strong and independent and clear and ask me questions and be, their own self-sufficient people who can contribute to the world. That's really important to me. So part of that is that, harmony for a lot of people I know, or a lot of people I work with, they're trying to achieve this, balance. They're trying to achieve this balance that's actually nothing to do with them. It's like this, I'm trying to think of it's like the white picket fence idea. Some people want a white picket fence, some people don't. Some people have lots of help and support around them, some people don't. Some people want to take over the world. Some people would love to just be home with their kids if they didn't have to worry about money, right? And all of those things are absolutely beautiful. But balance to me is saying, like, I need a little piece of everything compartmentalized in a certain way in time. And to me, most leaders don't really relate to that, and they don't thrive with it. I have on seasons and off seasons. I know what my values are. I know the things that are important to me. I will put my time, my energy, and my money and my focus into those areas. And I'm totally fine saying no to other things. On my on season, I'm very busy. I work a lot. I'm all in. It's like a professional athlete, right? They're going to go back into their season where they're training, they're on season when they're in their game, like their head is 100% in that. Then I have off season where I can have a bit more time with my kids, where I can take, extra holiday time, where I can travel, where they can have other experiences. So is it balanced? No. And would somebody else maybe see as harmony? I don't know. But to me, it's a harmony of my values and the way I want my life to look. And I'm the director of that. Nobody else can get a say in it. So to me, harmony is helping people know themselves, know what's important to them, and set up their own recipe for life without feeling like they have to be sorry about it, right? I think I've worked with a lot of people who work long hours. They're very successful. They also spend a lot of time with their kids, but they have extreme guilt. Like mothers and fathers I work with for years, obviously, with coaching, and the guilt of, am I spending enough time at home? Am I spending enough time at the business? And they constantly feel this like pull. And it's like, well, wait a minute, would our kids be better off if none of us, we were with them 100% of the time? Or is there something that's amazing that they see from work ethic and contribution and, leadership? And I think there is a beautiful thing that they see from that. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. That's a very big picture and a big way of thinking. I think a lot of people think as balance sometimes as only a daily thing. What you're describing is that it can be a seasonal thing or a stage that can be met, whatever the circumstances are. And that's cool that it relates back to different personalities. You don't have to do it a certain way. There's no set method. You can do it the way that suits you. And I like the fact that you can describe that, that quote in the book. So it explains a better understanding of maybe it's analogy of a baseball player who's training in the spring and playing season, and then he's off for a little bit in the winter, and they're doing whatever they want. We don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're just at the beach. Maybe they're in Aruba. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm sure they're balancing it out, making sense of it all. So it's good to hear for people that it's not just about one quick family vacation once a year and you're all set. I think there's a deeper level of creating a balance throughout other things in your life that are very important.
Yeah. And I think it's, again, going back to that creation mode. Like, I can't help somebody build their business to the extent they could, or their life, if they're not in a mode of creation. And if we're in that place where we feel like I have to do it a certain way, I have to be a parent a certain way, I have to be a CEO a certain way, or team leader a certain way, they get trapped in. Like, I have a lot of people who have been so busy and they don't go on their dream holiday, or they don't, do all the things they got into real estate to do. And I think in the past, when I used to do, well, I can't go away, I can't take 8 weeks off. Like, I have a business, I can't do that. It's like, wait a minute, why? Like, it's your business. Why can't you set it up to have your absolute best life and give yourself permission to do that? Why not? And all of a sudden, when we do, we start building business differently. And I find it a lot more invigorating, exciting, fulfilling.
I agree.
And it sounds like a lot, people kind of, at the end of the day, they get caught up in business and work and the success, and they want that success so bad, and they put so many things on the back burner. And then, like you said, you mentioned earlier, you talk to a lot of people with this guilt, and I think that's what it turns into eventually, is they might not see it today, but later down the road, they miss so many things, and they're eventually kind of like, man, I missed way too many things. That wasn't worth it. In the end, it wasn't worth the time that I lost for the success I was trying to go for. And not to discredit the hard work, but Mark and I are very adamant about having that work-life balance, and work is work. And I know Gary Keller said in his book, you're juggling a lot of balls, and the only two that are glass are your health and family. The rest are rubber. They'll come back. Your work, all that stuff will come back. But if you drop your health, you drop your family, those things can crack, break, shatter, and not come back. And I think having that balance and helping people realize that they can have that balance is a great thing. So many people, I think, miss the ball on that a lot.
Yeah. And I think, probably all of us, I mean, the number of people or high performers who have had, the health risks and the divorce and the issues with kids. And it is that, right? It's looking back and going like, I had to have a really good look in the mirror because I was running a coaching company and saying like, I'm seeing people burn out. I'm seeing them build phenomenal businesses, but like, they're not happy. And I kind of looked at it. So, well, what are you doing, Kathleen? Like you're working 24/7, you're supposed to be mirroring back a different way. And that's when we started to go towards top 1% life. And I was like, yeah, if I can't do the things that make me happy, if my clients can't, what is it all for? Right. So I agree completely.
Yeah. Now, so let me ask you, you're coaching in business, and then I'm assuming over time it's seeped into coaching in life. From what it sounds like, you're kind of advising and helping in people structuring their lives to fit with their business and their growth and what they're trying to accomplish. And I think, kind of to mention earlier, we miss that there's so many books out there about how to succeed in real estate and how to succeed in these things. And you never really learn how to succeed in relationships and in managing your personal life and your health and all that stuff with the business, right? There's very few people out there, very few things that are out there really teaching how to truly kind of balance that and be better all around in that top 1%, like you're talking about. So is that something that you kind of have really geared towards?
Yeah, for sure. End of the day, what I really do is, and we don't say this because it's not as sexy of a term, but like it's holistic performance, 100%. That quote that you read about frequency, to me, it's like when we're at our highest energy states, we can see these beautiful visions for our lives and we can go after them with confidence. But if we allow our energy to go too low, we see the world based on that energy state. So like a lot of what we do is like increasing capacity, right, for people. And when their capacity is bigger in life, like things don't bother them as much. I always say to people, like, how are you going to grow a business if all these little things get to you? Like, we have to be able to sometimes be in hard times or be in chaos and have clarity and be able to anchor ourselves and just walk through that fire or that storm or whatever it is for you, right? And I think all top performers, there is a level of sacrifice. And I think sometimes where it's confused is you have to be a hyper prioritizer to be a top performer. You just do. Like, I'll never forget my son at one point, our sump pump was acting up in the basement, right? So I went down, my son's like, there's water in the basement, Mom. And it's in the morning, right? Like I'm starting my day and I go down and sure enough, like there's more than usual. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like maybe a foot and a half of water in my basement. And I've got the rubber boots to go and like kick the sump up. And he's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to the office. He's like, Mom, like, it's not that normal that people don't just leave their basements flooded and head to the office. I'm like, there's nothing I can do about the water, but there's really important things that I need to do at the office. And those are more important. So to me, that's part of that harmony, right? Being okay to kind of forgive ourselves with the little stuff that isn't as important so we can rise up and have more capacity for the important stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that terminology of, trying to keep your energy at that higher level. And that's true. If you're not in the right headspace and you're not kind of thinking and focusing in the right ways, you're in the wrong ways. And then it's, everything starts to feel wrong, look wrong, be wrong, instead of you can kind of overcome, like you said, when, you run into an issue, it's not an end of the world issue, where I feel like when you're in the opposite spot, it can be that like just devastating and put you down, even though at the end of the day, it's not that big of a thing and you're going to get through it. No problem.
Yeah.
It becomes a huge thing that I see so many people all the time that have that, they get stuck in that low, low energy, low thinking, low frequency, like you said. And it's tough to see people in there, because it seems to me at least kind of like a just a spiraling place that's hard to get out of once you're in it for too long.
Yeah, very.
Sure.
And I mean, this past year, I think they're like all years we have that, but this past year, you know, some people, their mindset was hit more than others. And it is hard to get out of it. It takes time and it's nurturing. But I think it's true that leaders are forged in fire, because once you keep walking through, you have the faith to go, this must be for a purpose. Like, I must be meant to learn something here, or I must be meant to serve at a higher level, because if I wasn't, why would these things be happening to me? And you move forward through it. And all of a sudden, the next time you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like, I've been through this is not going to upset me now. But you don't know that until you kind of walk through it, because I think a lot of people think if you keep pushing through it, it's going to get worse. Right. So yeah, it is. Mindset to me is everything. Top 1% is to me all mindset. If someone's not in the right mindset, the systems, tools, it doesn't matter. It's not going to help to the extent it could.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, I want to take it back just a little bit, because I've been thinking about it. And how you wrote your first book, how long ago?
I wrote my first book. I try to I do know, because we released the ebook at Ultimate Team Summit. So November, I wrote it in 2019 and we released it November 2019, the ebook version.
Okay.
The first release kind of thing. Yeah.
And then this one just launched the other week. So right when that happened, what was kind of the point when you were like, I have to write this book? How did that come about when you decided you were going to be an author?
Have you been thinking of selling your home? Maybe buying a home? What about investing in some real estate? Well, if you're looking for a top-performing team to help you with that, then what you're looking for is at mysoulteam.com. Now, this real estate team has a servant's heart and a proven ability to negotiate on behalf of you, their client. They care about you and your community. So why don't you support them in their local business by visiting mysoulteam.com or calling or texting at 248-213-8606. That's 248-213-8606 for mysoulteam.com. That's mysoulteam.com.
The first book, you know what? I always knew I'd be an author, like at least in the last 7 years, right? I always knew I would. Like, there were two goals I kept putting off. Ironically, one, to have a podcast, because I'm on so many of them and I love that. I was kind of like, okay, do I really need to have my own? And the other was becoming an author. And I think it's like everything else, you know, tension creates focus. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I use that all the time in training, but like, tension's a good thing because it gets us to pay attention to what we need, right? It ruffles us up a little bit. But I was so busy with other projects, and I'm a hyper prioritizer, that I was always like, yeah, I want to write the book, but you know what? These things trump, and they've got to, and it makes sense. So finally I did what is, I should have known better, but I hired a coach and I put some money on the line. And because I knew if I put money on the line and I put tension on it, I'd get it done. So it's the best money I've ever spent, because they helped me structure the book, and then they gave me deadlines, and I was like, yep, I'm going to get the book done. Then you do a ton of editing, right? But the book was a beautiful thing because I tried to just be in flow and just kind of get it out. But it was long days. Like, I think Starbucks was worried for my mental health, not even joking, because I was there when they opened and then I'd leave when they closed, because I had to remove myself and just focus on writing. So when I had to write this last book with COVID, my special Starbucks is closed and I was devastated. So I set some new patterns in place. But I really felt the need to write the book because the business grew so quickly, the coaching business. And I realized that people started to think we only worked with these big mega teams, when the truth is we started working with top producers and we built mega teams, right? So I wanted to write the book as a bridge back, because I didn't have the one-on-one time anymore. My team does, but to really have those conversations with individuals who are like, how do I do this? You know, how do I move forward? And they're tired and they're working a ton and, you know, they're trying to carve that path. And I thought, okay, a book will help me connect with a larger audience. And then the second book was, okay, I need to explain who I am so they get why I do what I do. A little bit of a different reason.
That's awesome. And so obviously now anybody would consider you a success in your business, in your coaching career. And I always like to ask, how long did it take you to become an overnight success?
You know what? Success is an interesting thing, right? Like I know from the outside, and I see this all the time in real estate, because you'll have somebody come to an event and their team sells 500 homes a year, 1,000, whatever, right? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're so successful. But when you go on a coaching call, right, with that team leader or those people, they have their own goals, they have their own frustrations, they have their own obstacles. Like they don't see it's not like they're standing behind their past self anymore, right? So for me, I think there's so much that I want to do, and I have a purpose to do. So I don't allow myself to kind of say I'm a success. I say that I'm here to serve, and I hope I'm able to serve at my highest capacity. But it's been 13 years now. I'm in my 13th year, not done the 13th year, full-time coaching. So I've got well over 20,000 one-on-one hours myself personally. But for the past several years, I've had a coaching team. Like I just onboarded 6 new coaches. So they have extensive training. So now it's they're with our clients one-on-one, and I'm supporting the business and strategy and whatnot. So 13 years working a lot of hours to have what we have now, and to be able to take the time that I took in the last couple of years. I think people are like, look at all eight weeks off consecutively, right? And last summer when I did the hike, but it's like, it took me, 12 years to be able to take 8 weeks off consecutively. So I'll happily do it now.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at, is most people think that, people get in these positions or get to this level of success because, there's different levels and you're always striving for more, in a very quickly, because most times they only see it. Like if they didn't know about you, but they saw your book, like, oh, okay, like, she made it, and they see it as kind of that overnight, and they never saw the work and all the nights and like the long days, like you're talking about, morning to night, for years and years to get to that point where you had enough knowledge, where you had enough confidence, where you had, enough time and drive to be able to put into writing the book and doing the things now, and where you can take 8 weeks off because your business is at that level. So,
yeah. My son, when I was little, and he's getting his real estate license, which will be really interesting. He's 18. My son's 18 and my daughter is 15. But when he was young, I want to say, I don't know, I'm guessing 7 or 8. It's all mixes, right? When they're little. But he said to me out of nowhere, he's like, Mom, I think you're going to be a millionaire. I was like, why? Why, Ethan? Mom, you work harder than anyone I know, anyone I've ever met. It was so cute, right? But later on, he wrote an essay, and it was like, he ended up to write this essay, like why my mom should be the prime minister. And he started writing all this stuff of like anything she's ever showed up to do, like she's fully just achieved it. So I think she should be the prime minister. And the reason I'm telling this is like, as a parent, right? Even though I did work all those hours, and I do still work because I love what I do, like for me to see that he totally had this belief and capability, and knowing that transferred to him, I mean, that was everything, right? So although I've worked hours, I truly believe my kids believe they can build whatever they want. And I mean, to me, that's priceless, right? That's everything.
Yeah. There's no better thing to pass on to your kids than to be able to show them, that there are no limits through yourself, through your own actions, right? That you can accomplish and achieve anything with the right mindset and hard work that you continually put in, and just keep pushing through. And, it's easy to say one thing and tell your kids one thing, like you need to do this and you need to do that. But to actually go out there and show them with your actions, I think speaks much more than you could ever tell them.
Yeah, Kathleen, have you showed them the joy of a pogo ball yet?
Oh, the pogo ball? No, did you see? Yeah, I fractured my wrist falling off a pogo ball as a kid. I love that. But no, I don't even think they have any clue what a pogo ball is.
That's the ball that's like the exercise ball thing that you sit on. It's got the little handles and stuff.
You stand. It's got
you stand.
Way cooler than that.
Okay.
I have no idea how cool this thing is.
I missed that too then, I guess. That whole fad.
Yeah, just go to YouTube and go to like 80s commercials for pogo ball.
Search up the pogo ball.
How cool this is.
I forgot how much I dated myself with that particular story. Like everyone knows what a pogo ball is.
When you told that story, I was like, oh, I have so many good memories of that. So.
Fun.
I enjoyed that when you brought that up. Kathleen, tell us that little fun story about Portugal on the last night. So you were with your fiance on a trip in Portugal on the last night. What happened?
Well, he wasn't. So first of all, he wasn't my fiance. Like,
Oh, he wasn't yet. Okay.
I'll explain it first. So we went. He met me at the end because I did the Camino de Santiago, the pilgrimage last year. So I did the 800 kilometers over the Pyrenees Mountains from France and then across Spain, and that was just amazing. And he was supposed to meet me actually in Santiago de Compostela, which is like where you end off. But at the end of a trek like that, you don't realize it, but your body has a lot of adrenaline because you're hiking like every day, all day. So at the end of it, I got a little bit fatigued, and they said it was just a bit of dehydration, but because of the climate of the world, obviously I wanted to check everything out. So long story short, I went and he met me instead in Portugal, and we toured around. And the last day, I kept having this want to go to this place because they have this beautiful, like, it's not big, like this beautiful small church out on, like, it's kind of an outcropping of giant rocks. I can't say it better, like right on the ocean or the sea there. And I kept being like, I really wanted to go there. It was our last day and we were running out of time. Like, let's just go. Let's just detour on the way back to Porto because we're going to fly home from there. And we went, and, we went in this little church, and there's just like no seating, like, and it's right on the ocean. Like the waves are coming, the wind, it's just beautiful. And we decided we wanted to set some intentions, and, we lit a few candles, and we went back, and he laughs that I had a gin and tonic, which I did, at the patio. And we were going to walk away, and like something inside me kept saying, like, this is it. Like, this is your place. Right. So him and I looked at him, and we had this like I was like, I have this feeling like we're meant to do something here. Like, it's like something special. And he's like, yeah, I feel that way too. Like, I totally get it. And it's like he knew, which if you think of like a typical man who's been dating somebody, I don't even know, not that many months, because I kind of took off to hike when we were just dating. They might not be like, oh yeah, let's go make some promises. But we did. So we went into the little church, and the man who was overseeing it actually allowed us in behind the gate, kind of where the altar was. And, we made our promises, and we said for us, we decided that we really wanted to spiritually marry each other, that we're really self-governing. And I said, I don't need, and I want to honor myself and the best in myself. And I want to do that, towards him. And I want him to do that towards me. So it was really, really special. And then just before Christmas, we got engaged in the normal way. Right.
But I thought the next day you got freaked out. You left that part out.
I didn't say that part, but the next day I got freaked out because he's like, no, like we're married. That's it. And like, I got better. I needed a couple weeks. I freaked out big time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, I'll give our listeners something that you would recommend, or one of your Kathleen Black, life hacks of after things that you've gone through and learned. What are just a few things that you would want our listeners to kind of encompass and put to work? I highly recommend you read her book. Okay. As you noticed, I only, quoted a very small portion of the book, and it's phenomenal. It's got a lot of great stuff in there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think, you know what, it's something like my dad always said to me, like, just show up. He's like, you know what, Kate, like every time I thought that I wasn't ready or other people would be more prepared, he's like, I always built up other people so much. And then I'd show up, and often I was even more prepared than them because I was the one nervous about it. So I've always incorporated in my life and with clients, with supporting clients, like anything in the direction of where you want to go, show up and say yes. If you have to do it for free, do it for free. If you're lucky enough, like us in real estate, we can get paid for most of the things as soon as we improve our skills. But anything in the vicinity of your goals, just show up for it. Say yes to it, even if you're scared. Like, I look back at everything that allowed me to progress, and literally it was that. It was like, hey, we need somebody to speak on this tomorrow, right? In front of people. Can you memorize it? Can you do it? And I'm like, yes, thank you. So fantastic. Not realizing that other people had said no. Like, I was offered the opportunity probably six in. Right. So I think it's just showing up and giving yourself the confidence to learn as you go through. And I'm a big believer in going in performance environments. And if you can be paid to learn, like, your lifetime's ahead, particularly in real estate. Right. If you can work with people who are doing well and make money and learn, like, that's a gift.
It really is, though. And that's wonderful. Yeah. I can't agree with you more than that, though. Just show up. And as I always say, answer your phone, answer your phone, call people back quickly. And that'll make a drastic difference in your business. So it doesn't matter if you're in real estate or any other business. When you pay attention to people, when you respond to them, when you really cast that awesome first impression, I have a lot of people that will sometimes will say, oh, well, I've got to make a boundary. I can't just answer the phone all the time. Well, that's your first impression. So on the first call, you might want to answer the phone call no matter what happens. And then on the second call, you can set those expectations. Hey, I don't work past 8 o'clock because I'm sleeping, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So you can set those expectations. So it makes sense to always cast that first impression and make it last.
Well, and I think in our business, like you are alluded to it, 20% of the industry is driving the industry. And one of our top core values as a company, like I do talks called this, it's model the best, forget the rest. And I think that first year in real estate for me, I always say, like, I didn't have as much experience. I hadn't invested in as much with training, but one of the two things that I did that were really important, I gave myself permission to show up and be the best that I could be. I wasn't competing with anyone else, but I was like, hey, you can be awesome in your first year. There's no reason why you can't. But the second thing was the same reason I run the coaching company the way I do is because of that experience. I only model the top 1% because in real estate, like there's so much water cooler talk and there's so many opinions and naysayers and there's so much going on. It's like if you give yourself permission to just cut through and say, you know what, whatever I do, I'm going to learn a new thing this month. Next month, I'm going to learn something else, but I'm going to model the best. Forget the rest. Like you can't be all things to all people. And in real estate, you get overwhelmed, right?
That is such profound wisdom. Okay. If you are going out there and you're just thinking like, oh, that person does this many deals or that person does this much business or whatever the line of work is, you're already setting yourself up for destruction.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you show up, I was just talking to Grant yesterday and Grant was talking to me about a deal he's working on with someone who's 29 years, 30 years in the business. And I'm listening to Grant's side of the story. I'm listening to the other side of the story. And I can't tell you how impressed I am with Grant. So because he's showing up exactly what you said, he's doing exactly what you said. He's showing up there, bringing his best to the table, and he looks like the superstar. And people want to deal. They want the clients want him over the other person, and it's already it's already apparent to people the way they respond on who they want handling their business and who they respect more and trust more by identifying that in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, like you said, that I love that quote of, be like the best and then forget about the rest. And that's so true. And it's, following, I'm assuming you kind of go on to following the models of what they're doing. Right. And just sticking to it and quit trying this and trying that and trying this and trying that. And like the fads and things like that, like see what the successful people are doing and just go for it. Just go after it. It's not hard. And just show up. Showing up is, I tell people all the time, like if you just show up, you're halfway into it. Like if you just show up at the office, people are going to help you. You're going to be able to learn. You're going to be able to, you can work then. If you're not showing up, you can't complain. You're not going to win at the end of the day if you're never showing up, and that's just throughout all life. You got to show up to everything. That's just in your relationships, in everything, you got to show up. And I feel like that's a thing I see fewer and fewer people that they do is, it's just show up.
So, next time I'm going to show up on a pogo ball and I'll show everybody else.
Don't fall off it. I'm telling you.
Adjust that life insurance a little bit. What's that critical stuff? Does that include pogo ball? But this is great, Kathleen. We can't thank you enough for coming out here, giving us your time and sharing just overall great stuff for our listeners to encompass and use and run with. And I really hope you dive into that book and get a lot more out of it. You can find it on Amazon. Kathleen, are you going to be writing a third book, or is it too early to talk about that?
I am going to be, although my fiance almost I was like, I need to write it. No, not yet. Don't write it, because it takes a lot out of you, right? But I am. Then the next book, I already know what I'm going to be writing, because it's going to be the mega team one. So Industry Icons is the next one, but I'm not started yet. I'm going to give myself a break.
So I have to ask, are you using the new the feature on I guess it's on Word and different things right now where you can just speak to type?
I think I need to, because honestly, that's the most painful part, because I do talks all the time. I coach, it's all verbal communication, and it's so painful for me because I want to write the way I speak.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way. So I should try. It might help me to make it quicker. I haven't yet, but I might.
I just found out about it not that long ago, and it's changed everything because I just talk into the computer and I don't have to type anymore. Amazing. So
you might have just given me the solution to a book. Thank you.
We're going to hear from Kathleen next week. I'm coming up with book number 5, 6, and 7. Thank you, Grant.
Just writing it in the car on the way to work. There you
True.
go.
Imagine.
Well, again, thank you for your time, Kathleen. We hope to have you on again in the near future. Is there any fun stuff coming up for you? Is there any summits coming up? Is that still on?
Well, yeah, fingers crossed that we will be in Niagara Falls at the Niagara Falls Conference, Casino and Conference Center. Is a beautiful spot. It's on the Canadian side. There's a beautiful spot there. And we're hoping for November, that we can. If not, last year we pivoted. We did the whole thing online. And to be honest, it was an amazing success. Even our clients who said, I didn't really want to do virtual and I begrudgingly came in, but I got powered up again. And I'm so happy I did. I'm like, thank goodness, right? Because online is different, but that is coming up, and we're launching the new platform, which is an all-inclusive coaching platform for teams. So admin have access to coaching, inside sales agents, team leaders, masterminds. We're bringing in genius level coaches in all areas of the business. So we're really excited for that. That's like a big expansion because teams need it, right? It takes a team to build a team, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
can you tell us where we can get more information on that? Where do people go?
Yeah, our website is ittakesa.team. So easy, ittakesa.team, or kathleenspeaks.com. And you can see all our different workshops, online coaching events. And we have workshops coming up as well. So yeah, it's worth checking that out. And we love social media. We're all over it. So I'd love if you followed me and stay connected for sure.
Great.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. And I look forward to reading through. I have a stack of books people keep giving me, and I know Mark had said it, and I was like, man, I have like 3 books I'm just got through, and people keep handing me books, and I read all the time, and either between Audible and reading, but they're on my list. So next time we talk, I'll have some serious points to probably talk to you about for sure.
I look forward to it. Oh, thanks so much. This has been a pleasure being here. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. We'll see you next time on What I've Learned podcast. This is Mark, Grant, Kathleen. Adios.